Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between, and welcome to part 21 of the Inquisitor path for the life and suffering of Sir Brante. We've just reached the 5th chapter. It is the year 1146, and the revolt begins. Cassius's death at the hands of an enraged mob has dealt a severe blow to the old faith. The entire city is incensed. Street brawls and vigilante justice have become commonplace. Fanatics drag priests of the old faith out of their hiding places and execute them. Your patronage of the new faith has transformed it into a prominent power, and this power stands poised to eradicate not only the old church, but the old order in its entirety. Abbot Leonard tries to stop the bloodshed and take charge of the new believers. Countless citizens have joined him since Cassius was murdered. There are many people among them who have tasted blood and freedom from any law, divine or otherwise. Stop, madmen! You doom your very souls! This world will burn in the flames of the twins' wrath! The other Inquisitors support Jean, but, forced to defend themselves against the bloodthirsty mob, they soon find they have no more time for sermons. Hordes of new believers occupy the temples, squares and streets. They are joined by disaffected citizens, conspirators and heretics of all stripes. The revolt is coming. And Sophia is leading the Anizot revolt. Wow, okay, things have changed. We have a whole new list of things to sort out. So we've got the revolt itself, which is currently in a stalemate. So the general strength of the revolt, forces gathered by the rebels, solidarity among them, support for the rebellion among the townspeople. The outcome of the struggle for Anizot will depend on how strong the revolt will be at the moment of the decisive collision. So for now, it's a stalemate. We can have the rebels losing, the rebels winning, or a bloodbath. And in troops, the military force that I have managed to gather under my control. Currently I've only got a squad, but I can get a regiment and an army. We've got the common folk, my influence among the common people of Anizot. It depends on the support of the commoners whether you will be able to prevail in the struggle for the city. For now I've got their cautious support. And the clergy, my influence among the priesthood. And it depends on the support of the clergy whether I will be able to prevail in the struggle for the city. So, obviously my aim would be to be indisputable leader, probably army for this, and to keep it around a stalemate maybe. We'll see what happens. Chapter 5, The Revolt. I am loving this game so much. It's just the story is so good, and the options are brilliant. At dawn. For years now, Anizot has been simmering like a cookpot over slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. All of Anizot's commoners have risen up in rebellion, workers, artisans, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of noble tyranny and the perpetual suffering that is their lot. The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. They hand out guns and bombs to the people, weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from generations of warriors. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the people's court. The commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straw this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. For the first time in history, the divine force of the law is in possession of not only the noblemen but also of the common estate. Among the rebels are many new believers. They are ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the lots. They are led by Leonard, the abbot of the temple by the silver tree. Prefect Elborn's allegiance remains unknown. The supreme judge has taken such pains to give the lowly estate more rights. Will he support a revolt that strives to do the same? Anizot has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities must recognize the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. By nightfall, the rebels have disposed of the guards and taken over the city gate. In a matter of minutes, Anizot was under their control. It is the duty of Overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Arcanian nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city as discontent slowly grew year by year. But the ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization. In the morning, the Legion will march towards Anizot under his command and attempt to return the city to imperial control with fire and sword. The expeditious arrival of the Legion is the only hope the nobles have left now that they are locked inside the city. Members of their higher estate, especially the old aristocratic families, fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. Meanwhile, the Inquisition, led by Sister Jean, is trying to stop the new believers and urging people to reject the revolt. Both groups are aware that if the rest of the province follows Anizot into rebellion and chaos, the Empire itself and the Divine Order will begin to crumble. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared and armed units are gathering. Parishes are getting ready to defend the temples of the new faith against the Inquisition. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves, some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anizot is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the Legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the Imperial army. But there is little unity in their camp. Their leaders are already mired in a power struggle. There are also defenders of the Imperial Order within the city walls, members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law and the Twins' design. These people too refuse to lay down their arms. The first rays of the rising sun light up the horizon. This day will go down in history. Your entire life has led you to this moment. Step by step you have made yourself the man you are now. Your actions today could alter the course of history, but are you ready to go the distance? What will have become of you by the time the sun sets? So it's equaling to 5, just on the border of the stalemate. The rebels are winning if we get one more. So here we are, the final chapter of the game. And we've got so many options to pick here. So the Legion is defeated, the revolt wins, peace with the Overseer, the city is defended, the revolt is defeated, the surrender of the revolt, the Anizot massacre, dark times, and true death. The most important event that will end this chapter, only one of them will happen. I don't even know what one I want to happen, to be honest. I mean, do I want them to defeat the Legion? Do I want peace with the Overseer? I mean, that seems like the best one, because it leads to less fighting. That requires the rebels to be winning, common folk to like me, clergy to like me, nobles to like me. You know, I don't know if that's a useful option. I think peace with the Overseer is what we want. And now we've got some options for the Brante family. The family is in the city, choosing to remain in the rebellious city. They've perished, they fled, or they're saved. Obviously you want them to try and survive. So it seems like this whole chapter is going to be one night. Then there's me. I escape from the city. I'm leading the revolt. I'm defender of the Empire. Or I'm just a rebel. And the revolt section is finally open, so you have access to the full screen. So the revolt section, yeah, has everything we needed to know. I haven't chosen a side yet. We want to get a peaceful victory, I think, so we're looking at, you know, clergy 2, nobles 1, common folk 3. Well, let's dive straight in. I have a feeling this is all going to go disastrously, but we shall see. Yeah, it's morning. Okay, so this is quite a short chapter. We've only got 4 sections, and a couple of events for each section, no doubt. So the family doesn't fall apart because of something of previous decisions, which is a good sign. It is the morning of the revolt, the family's fate. The first rays of the morning sun reach the windows of your family home. It would be so easy to forget about the impending revolt here within these old, familiar walls. But the calm before the storm will soon be over, and yesterday's turmoil will return. There are only a handful of hours left. The Brantes have to decide what to do. Should the family stay in the city and prepare to weather the storm? Should they join the struggle, or should they simply avoid it? After a sleepless night, you gather in the sitting room as a family once again. Father is the first to speak. His determined, yet surprisingly calm voice fills the room. This is what I was afraid would happen. The noble estate has turned a blind eye to the common people's misery, and now we have a revolt on our hands. It is my fault as well. I did all I could to serve the cause of justice, but just wasn't enough, and now blood will be shed. The family patriarch casts a somber gaze over his children. I want to make one thing very clear. Today our family cannot get involved in the unrest. We will not take sides. I feel for the common estate, but we're not getting dragged into a hopeless bloodbath. As for preserving the Overseer's rule in Aniswat, we will not sacrifice ourselves for that either. He has led Magret to this rebellion, and now it is up to him and his legion to deal with the rebels. And we mustn't forget Commander Otten and his noble militia. They're all too eager to use this opportunity to slaughter all the nobles they blame for the revolt. Father is silent for a while. Then he takes his sword off the wall and places it firmly on the table. His voice rings with the coldness of steel. We will stay in our city and protect our home. Whatever danger we might face today, the Brantes will not surrender their home, their status, or their place in this world. None of you have ever seen Father so filled with resolve, but he still seeks your support. Robert, the patriarch of the Brante family, meets your gaze. Do we even have the options? Actually, we don't. Wow. My son, I know you're going to make your own decision. You're too deeply involved in this conflict to just stand aside. But right now I'm talking about our family here, Jordan. Our family must remain out of harm's way no matter what you decide to do. So I can't have inside of the revolt because I don't have the unity or the relationship. We can't oppose the revolt because I don't have Father's relationship. And we can't flee the city because I don't have the unity or relationship with my dad. So the only option I can do is agree with Father and protect your home. Father is right, the family must remain in the city and protect their home. That's a real shame actually, but anyway, I don't like not having any options. You agree with Father. The Brantes need to take shelter at home and stay out of the struggle. It would be unwise for the family to take any side in the coming conflict. They should just focus on keeping each other safe. Which is the problem with this family from the start, is that we always do something like this. We never push far enough, and this was grandfather's problem with our father. Apparently why I admired Stefan, because he was willing to go the extra mile, albeit he was very misguided how he did it. But he was willing to go the extra mile to do things. But now all we're going to do is sit on our hands and not try and take advantage. Chaos is a ladder, after all. You, however, will have to act on your own. This is a historic day, you cannot stay out of it. Soon you will join the struggle for the city's future. You have to get ready and muster all your strength. Father lets out a bitter sigh and puts his hand on your shoulder. There's no harm with us getting the extra willpower, I guess. I'm sure it'll come in handy. Very well, son. I always knew you had your own destiny. I hope you fulfill it today. Determination written in his face, Father stands up and buckles on his sword belt. As for the rest of us, we will stay home and stick together. Check all the locks, board all the windows, and reinforce the doors. You say your hurried farewells to your family and leave them to preparations for the coming storm. If they should find themselves in danger, you promise to come home and help them at once, but in your heart of hearts you are still uneasy. Oh, nothing from Stefan or Nathan. You finally walk out the door and head for the gate. This is where you belong now, on the streets, where history is about to be written. Ah, Jordan, hold on. I would have preferred to be around full of power, around 15 for, I'm sure, the coming events, but anyway. You turn around and look behind you. The hunched, hapless silhouette of your younger brother Nathan appears on the steps. Nathan hurries towards you. The family is in the city. So is Nathan coming with us? By their will. Because the family hasn't fallen apart. We've got some more events. Oh, the music for Nathan is always gut-wrenching. Your younger brother stands before you, clutching an old prayer book. He speaks and sighing deeply, then begins to speak. I know you're in a hurry, Jordan. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. As you know, my faith has wavered all my life. The twins know how much I've sinned, but even in my darkest hour I knew they hadn't turned away from our world. I knew they still cared. Nathan is quiet for a moment, watching a tiny ant make its way across the porch. But I just can't understand, no matter how hard I try, what's happening to us? This revolt against the Empire, how did the twins let it happen? Is this even possible? I mean, the twins made the whole world as part of their design, didn't they? Does that mean the entire world is about to fall apart? This revolt, what is it? Please help me understand. Oh, nice. We've unlocked all of the options, which is great. Nathan's sullen gaze rises towards the shining pillar, but thick grey storm clouds are already moving towards the city. The shining strip at the edge of the sky is glowing dimmer by the second. You watch the sky too, lost in thought. What will you tell him? He should ask the Elder, which gives me theology and eloquence, which is no good because I've already got max, although it makes Nathan a prophet apparently. The revolt is a challenge against the gods, it gives me theology and Nathan becomes consumed by despair. The revolt is a threat to their design, he becomes consumed by despair. The revolt is part of their design, which makes Nathan hopeful, and gives us eloquence, or we walk away without giving him an answer. I mean, this seems like the best one to choose because it makes Nathan hopeful. Sorry, it makes Nathan a prophet, and also it's based on the fact that I did Nathan's admonition and revelation of the three in the earlier chapters, and he's already hopeful. That's why he becomes prophet, and here he'll just stay hopeful. But only the twins themselves know the truth. Nathan can ask them himself. Does that mean he's going to kill himself again to see them? I mean, this is the problem. If I didn't have the consequences on, and I didn't know what was going to happen, I would have chosen the revolt as part of their design. You know, the twins gave people freedom, and that freedom includes the ability to alter their great design. But that just keeps Nathan hopeful and gives him eloquence. I'm going to make him into a prophet. Only the twins themselves know the truth. Nathan can ask them himself. Your hand comes to rest on Nathan's shoulder. You've always tried to guide your little brother to the truth, but right now only the gods themselves hold the answer he seeks. But you believe that he has the power to ask the twins himself. He spoke to the elder once, surely he can speak to him again. Nathan falls silent, dumbstruck by your words. He unconsciously touches the sacred symbol he wears on his chest. Jordan, you believe me? You really believe the elder spoke to me? Your eyes shift to the silver tree. It has always stood over the city. It brings back so many memories. You recall the way you felt when you first saw it up close, and then you speak. Yes, you tell Nathan, you believe him, and you believe in him. Your little brother kneels silently. He bows his head and speaks a prayer to the elder. Nathan's body begins to tremble. His eyes roll back in their sockets. The sacred symbol in his hand burns with a silver flame. You try not to call out to him, but your mouth will not open. Your lips are sealed tight. The air is growing heavy. Time and space freeze. A few moments seem to last an eternity, and then it passes. Nathan leaps to his feet, his eyes wide. I heard him. I did. He's here, Jordan. The elder, he walks among us. The elder is looking for an answer, just like me. He's calling out to us. He wants to know what happened to our world. He wants to hear us. I need to find him. Oh no. If he's going to run out in the middle of the revolt, he should be staying at home. Nathan suddenly stops in mid-thought. But our family needs me now too, right? We've got to stick together. Your hand comes to rest on your brother's shoulder once again. What's done is done. He has seen the truth, and it will never let him go. It is time for Nathan to walk his own path. He must find the elder. He must make himself heard. Nathan smiles meekly and embraces you as awkwardly as ever. I'll never forget everything you've done for me, brother. Farewell. Nathan becomes prophet. Your younger brother sets out on a pilgrimage to preach his own teaching of the twins. Before he leaves, Nathan hesitates for a moment. He casts one final glance at the family home, then disappears beyond the gate. He walks alone now, combing the streets for a god mere moments before they erupt in madness, but this is Nathan's one true path now. And it has fallen to the two nobles to defend the Brante home. That seems symbolic and quite nice in a way. And we're already maxing either of those. But wow, this chapter is already revving up to be quite good. I have no idea how all this is going to play out. Mustering the forces. The crimson sun slowly rises above the horizon. You make your way through a city in chaos, carefully observing what is happening on the streets. The rebellion is flaring up again after a night of calm. Once again, the commoners are taking to the square in droves. The grim resolve in the rebels' eyes speaks volumes. They are determined to seize their freedom or die trying. There are others, however, who are huddling inside their homes, locking their doors and praying to survive the revolt unscathed. With every passing minute, you see more and more people carrying banners. They bear a hand clutching a lantern, the mark of the last straw. The conspirators have left the shadows at last. They hand out guns to the common folk, using the last precious minutes to quickly teach them how to fire them. The artisans are out on the street too, cobbling together makeshift shields out of wood and nails to protect against the nobles and their blades. Fortunately for the rebels, the nobles remain divided. The old noble bloodlines have sided with Dorius Otten. The Archnian has sworn to bring down the revolt by any means necessary. His noble militia now stands guard in the Silver District, where the city's most eminent aristocrats have their homes. They represent the greatest threat to the revolt. Many nobles of the mantle, however, are all too eager to violate their oath of fealty and side with the rebels. Though ennobled to serve the Empire, they no longer want to suffer under the boot of the high-born Archnians and their human gentry. But there are many more who are still undecided, soldiers and low-ranking officers of the Legion from the city's garrisons, officials and functionaries. They have all found themselves caught between the Overseer's orders and the People's Revolt. Many of them are biding their time, hoping the Legion or the Prefecture will spring into action and quell the unrest. But the Prefecture has yet to react. The city prefect, Sir Elborn, still has not made clear which side he is on. Even the clergy have been swept up in the strife. Abbot Leonard is gathering new believers for a procession to the Silver Tree, where the people will elect a new patriarch. All believer priests and common folk who prefer to cling to the lots and save their souls stand in opposition. Even the Inquisition, whose duty it is to protect the Church of the Twin Gods against heresy, has been tainted by this schism. Oh my god, all those options. And only one of them is available to me. Jesus. The true fight for the fate of Anizot will begin in a matter of hours. You have had 8 years to curry influence among the people of this city. It is time to put your connections to the test. Who can you sway to your side? Who will be willing to sacrifice their lives and fight for your cause? So I can bide my time, and I get willpower. I can buy the people's loyalty, which I can't do because I don't have manipulation or the path of the lawless. I can't unite the nobles because I'm not a noble by the sword, although I've got the diplomacy. I don't have path of the nobleman either. I can't support the old believer priests. I can't assemble a squad of royal rebels. I can't incite a revolt, a riot among the Legion troops. But I can arm the new believers. Now this seems like the option I want to go with. I surround myself with people who are ready to take up arms and fight for the revolt and the new faith. Okay, so this is going to put it into the rebels are winning because it'll be 6. So give me extra troops, give me a regiment, and the common folk +1. So I'm going to arm the new believers. It's better than biding my time for the willpower. Without a proper army, the revolt does not stand a chance against the Legion. You walk from temple to temple, calling out to everyone who is willing to arm themselves and defend the new faith. You bear the word of the twins. You speak with their voice. The flock knows this full well. Next on the list is a temple on the edge of the Brass District, the same temple where you received your first sacrament. You see an old priest on the steps, addressing the people around him. Could this be the same man who struck you with the sacred lash all those years ago? It is not your lot to fight. That is the pure purview of the noble lot. Put down your weapons, you fools. Restrain yourselves. Stop this before your souls are doomed to an eternity of torment at the foot of the pillar. You face the old man with a smile. He is blind, and all he can do is frighten people. He cannot see the truth. You respond to him with the words of the elder. He who entereth the house of a strong man cannot take it by force unless he bindeth his hands. Only then can the house be plundered. And that is why Gaius Tempest is coming, to bind the hands of the strong. And then their houses will be plundered, but Tempest will not take the people's riches, he will take their twins given freedom. He is coming to take away their right to choose their own lot and their own path to the Shining Pillar. If the people you see before you wish to be bound, they should flee with their tails between their legs, but if they wish to be free, they must cast away all fear and have the courage to stand their ground. The old priest is silent. The crowd of new believers shouts in approval, chanting enthusiastically, "Down with the lots! Down with the old faith!" All doubt has been cast away. For the first time the people around you raise their knives, hatchets and axes, not to toil humbly, but to depose their eternal masters. Under your guidance they will see this fight to the end. So the rebels are now winning. I don't want it to be a bloodbath. And we have now got a regiment, which is great, and I've got the trust of the common people. Which is good. So, in order to get the peace that I want, I need the common folk with 1 more, clergy with 2, and nobles with 1. And I need to be leading the revolt. Do you have what it takes to realize their hopes and guide them to victory? It is time to find out. The sound of gunfire fills the streets again. The lull has passed. And I have sided with the revolt. So, victory conditions. I'm close to a military victory. Once I need to be leading to revolt to win this game. At least win this chapter. All I need is the common folk to be 1 more and I'll have military victory. But I want to get a peaceful victory if I can. Okay, clergy 3, nobles 1. Let's keep an eye on that. Oh god, is that going to be the end of the first section? The order divided. This is because I chose the path of the priest. It is noon. The wind drives the sand along the stone slabs. The Inquisition has gathered inside the yard of the ward, but they are uneasy. The schism within the church has split the order as well. Some of the Inquisitors follow the old faith, while others are new believers. Their contentious quarrelling can be heard over the ward's tall fence. We need to stay in the ward and protect ourselves until the Overseer's army comes. But we cannot abandon the people at a time like this. It is our duty to stay with the faithful and preach on the streets. We need to show our support to the noble militia. They're the ones protecting the order. The rebels are fighting for the legitimacy of the new faith. We're done being persecuted. It is the will of the twins that Leonard become patriarch. We cannot stop him. The ward's doors open. Jean briskly walks outside. Enough! It was I, brothers and sisters, who brought the Inquisition back to power in Anatot, and you all know it, but now it pains me to see what we have become. I mean, the Order was struggling when we last left that chapter, but okay. And I'm pretty sure it was me, Jean, rather than you, but anyway. I have never taught you to be cruel. I used to believe that each and every Inquisitor knew their sacred lot, that you all saw the wrath of the gods looming ever so close, that you all knew what they could do to our world should we besmudge the design. But clearly I was wrong. We have to remember now that we made Jean a fanatic as well of the old faith by mistake. This city is full of heretics. The Inquisition has failed. The time for talk is over. There will be no words, no more prayers, no more mercy. I am taking control of the Order, and we will smite the heathens. Leonard will stop at nothing to become the new Primarch, even if it means defiling our sacred ceremony. We will stand in the way of his procession. Not a single one of those rebels will reach the Silver Tree. Uh-oh. But Inquisitor, Leonard will have crowds of people on his side. The Champions of Faith will not be able to stop them. Then the Inquisitors will have to take up arms as well. The Inquisitors meet her words with stunned silence. Finally, someone speaks up hesitantly. But what about our lot? We cannot wield weapons in battle. Do you realize what this means for our souls, Jean? Our lot? It is our lot to guide those who have even strayed and save their souls, even if it means our own souls must be damned to eternal torment at the foot of the pillar. The fate of our flock depends on what we do at this fateful hour. If we must defy our lot and sacrifice ourselves to avert the wrath of the gods, then so be it. Jean points an accusing finger at the Inquisitor who espoused the new faith. Captain Agon... Oh shit, that's us, we're the new faith. Captain Agaronim, seize the heretics. The Champions of Faith do as they are told. They force the wayward Inquisitors to their knees. The other priests watch in confusion. We shall begin by purging heresy from our order. Then we will head to the Silver Tree. Leonard and his flock must not enter the temple, lest our world be doomed. Uh-oh. I can't seize control of the order. You walk through the gate. Jean's furious eyes dart towards you. So we could accept death, which I'm not going to do. Don't get involved, which I wouldn't do either. And Jean would be doomed for her sin. We could stop Jean. But I can't do that because Cassius didn't face trial. And my relationship with Jean isn't high enough. And I can't seize control of the order. Because Cassius has been overthrown and I choose to rebel. So I can free the captive Inquisitors by force. Because I've got troops and torch the new faith. But this will put the revolt on the borderline of bloodbath. I will lose troops. The clergy will like me and the common folk will like me. Okay, that's an interesting option. I might take that, as it were. I mean, it's bad for the revolt, but it's good for clergy and common folk. Or I can convince her to spare the Inquisitors, which gives us the church to revolt the clergy, takes away willpower and Jean +1. Oh crap. I mean, this seems like the best option, but it takes away willpower, and my willpower is low as it is. Oh, I have a feeling I'm going to be stuck with decisions because I don't have willpower. Okay, the bad thing about this is that I lose troops. Are troops important for peace with the Overseer? I only need them to be greater than 1. Okay, that's something. So I could do... This gives me church. The revolt gets +2. The clergy and common folk. I lose Jean. This gives me common folk, clergy, and revolt is only +1 instead of +2, and the church. So basically, I'm sacrificing troop numbers. Wait, what's the benefit for oh, willpower. I'm sacrificing 1 troop for willpower. I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, I just feel like I'm going to have a lot of willpower heavy decisions coming forward, and you know, I've got an option here not to save up willpower and just I'm gonna do that. Oh, I hate doing that, but it'll be worth it, possibly. She is right. The time for words and prayers has passed. You point at the kneeling Inquisitors surrounded by the champions of faith. Free the captives! No! The champions of faith draw their swords. But your flock is armed and ready to fend off the warriors of the Inquisition. You greatly outnumber the enemy, and for the sake of their faith, each and every one of your followers is ready to face death, even if it be their last. Steel clangs on steel. You see flashes of burning silver in the hands of Jean's loyal Inquisitors. The silver glows paralyze your people, but others replace them as they collapse. They fiercely rush at the champions of faith. The fight does not last long. Sister Jean, there's too many of them, we must retreat. Jean casts her gaze over the battlefield. The dead bodies of Inquisitors and the commoners litter the yard, slowly dissolving into glimmering mist. You have both lost at least half of your forces, but the fighters keep coming. Do what the captain says, we're leaving. The champions of faith stay in formation as they retreat. Jean is safe among them, covered by their shields. Her desperate cry reaches your ears. You've led the order to bloodshed, Brante. You're destroying everything we spent years building. Don't expect any mercy from me at the Silver Tree. Your heart is pounding in your chest. Your fellow new believers surround you. Their ecstatic cries ring in your ears. They praise your courage and faith, and they want you to lead them. We knew you'd come, Inquisitor Brante. We're going to help Father Leonard now, right? The problem is now we get to the Silver Tree and we don't have enough troops to fight Jean. We have to show the people the Inquisition is on their side. You try your best to gather your thoughts. It is too early for Leonard to head to the Silver Tree. It will be a while before the new Fate procession begins. There is still time to find allies. Suddenly a flustered priest runs through the gate. Dorius Otten and his noble militia are going to the prefecture to execute Sir Elborn for treason. Clarity fills your mind. Prefect Elborn has always stood with the new faith. He will be a powerful ally, if he survives. But now we won't have the troops to defend him probably. You must hurry. You order your comrades to get ready. The prefecture awaits. And the fall of the old faith has happened. The rebels are winning. My squad is just down to squad. But the clergy now trust me. And I'm the indisputable leader of the common folk. Am I going to sacrifice more troops now to save Prefect Elborn, you know? And we pass to daytime. So, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. There's been so much happening. This game is just baffling me with how brilliant it is and how all our decisions are coming to fruition in the last chapter. So, if you like this video, please leave a like and think about subscribing to keep in touch with how this game is going to unfold. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care and have a good day.